Welcome back to the Business Simple podcast. It's your host, James, and today I'm going to be talking about client red flags I no longer ignore. This was a fun topic that was suggested to me by a member of my team. It sparked my interest straight away because there's probably a couple of them that I put up with for a long time, but I absolutely don't anymore, and I'd love to share them all with you. So I hope you enjoy this episode. The first thing that I will no longer tolerate under any circumstances from a client that's working with Digital Simple is if someone signs a proposal with us, we do the work, and then they turn around and they question an invoice that aligns with the proposal and what we pre-agreed on. So actually, no, I take that back. I will tolerate that unless they're questioning it after the invoice's due date. That's the really important part. So if we do work in this month, we send someone an invoice that's due for 20th of April, and then on the 30th of April, I get an email or one of my team gets an email going, hey, I'm wondering about the value of this management fee or something like that, we will immediately cease work and we will do everything we can to collect the cash that is owed, but we won't work with that business anymore. The reason for that is I have a real strong calling towards being respectful, honest, open, transparent and clear with our customers. And we make our expectations really clear at the start through a proposal. And if someone signs that proposal, they are agreeing to go into a service agreement with us. Now, if we get to the end of the month and we send them the invoice and they come back to us and they go, hey, this didn't quite match my expectations, I'm more than open to having a conversation with that person and finding something that we're both happy with and a clear plan moving forwards that will allow both of us to benefit into the future. That is no problem. However, waiting until after the due date and after my accounts team chase you up to then dispute it is not an acceptable way to run business. And it doesn't align with the way that we do things. We do everything possible to pay every invoice that we receive on time. We're huge on that, and we understand the flow-on effect of people who don't pay invoices on time and how that then, if we don't pay on time, that impacts our supplier and their ability to pay their people on time. And it's just not something that I want to be a part of. There are enough people that treat their suppliers and contractors with respect out there that you don't need to deal with people who treat them like a bank. So we will, if a client is clear with us, tolerate late payments for sure. And if something's 10 days, 14 days late, if they send us an email and go, hey, we're just waiting on a drawdown or something like that, it is no problem at all waiting for that money. Where it becomes a problem is if people are being sneaky and deceptive. And when it comes to money, that is the oxygen and you know the lifeline of your company. It's how you pay your employees. It's how you put the office roof over their head, and it's how you create wealth for your family and for yourself. So I do not tolerate that as a part of things. But we're talking more about red flags here. And one that I'm really big on is typically if people are asking for discounts on service costs up front, that tends to be a little bit of a red flag for me. And there haven't been many times in my life that I've agreed to something like that and it's paid off positively. I think of, people who come to you and go, if we commit for 6 months on this thing, will you waive the onboarding fee? The likelihood of that person actually following up with their end of the deal is pretty low. And as a supplier, you're quite limited in terms of options if they don't. And so what we typically do is we would just go, actually, it's probably not for us if that's the case. And if the onboarding fee or if our management fee or something like that is a problem, there's a bigger problem, which is you don't understand the value of what we're providing or you don't believe in us. And I would rather explain the value of what we're providing or try to instill some confidence in us than discount the fees. Now, with anything like that, there is nuance involved. And there are situations where we might consider a discount or a client might be right about something, or we might be competing for work, or we might do something over a short period, or, that it's not that we're completely opposed to everything along those lines. But if we send something to someone and their immediate response is that they want a discount of X, or they don't want to pay this, or they don't want to do that, we typically would just walk away from the opportunity because we believe, once again, there are enough businesses out there that treat their contractors and suppliers with respect, pay on time and pay well. And in turn, they just want a really good product, and we believe we can provide them that. The final client red flag that we probably look out for is, and this once again has a lot of nuance, and some of my favorite clients are like this, but is a client with really poor communication. where we tend to find that relationships like that end up is that we don't get the information we need from them to be able to deliver on the product to the standard that they want us to. And in return for that, they're not happy with the service that's provided. And we don't want to enter in an arrangement where we believe that the service that's provided is not going to be perceived as being valuable and beneficial to the business. And so because of that, we then just will tend to kind of avoid low comms engagements or have a conversation with people early into the piece where we just talk to them about their communication and about what the bare minimum we can get away with is, and make sure that that works for them so that we can operate in a mutually beneficial, healthy, thriving environment with them. So that's those would be the biggest things from me. I mean, the other one is like, obviously there's no-brainer stuff. Like if someone comes in, they go, oh, why don't you just work for a 10% profit share if you're so good or whatever? And it's like, man, you could just tell me that you've got no money for marketing. It's fine. I would completely I'd probably try and make a solution for you for a really limited budget. Or someone who talks about how big their budget could be in the first meeting, but then has a very small budget to start with. That's also probably something that I look out for. But, we have people who are the real deal and who really spend $100,000 a month. And so we don't need to hear about how your $3,000 a month budget can make it there in the next 3 months if we do a good job. Yeah, there's a few different things, and I'm trying not to be too candid here or deviate too far away, but it's probably not hard to show a little bit of my personality in this one. Yeah, I think probably the essence of what we look for and what we would define as a red flag is when someone shows a lack of respect for our business, when they show a lack of understanding of the work that goes into what we do, which is typically our fault, and we need to go back and explain it, or if they just don't, it's a respect thing, I'd say would be the biggest piece. So those are my client red flags that I no longer ignore. If you've made it this far, I hope you found this beneficial and you've listened to me waffling on about this. Make sure you check us out across social media. If you want to see my face, you can do so via YouTube as well as on Spotify. Give us a follow on Spotify and I'll catch you on the next one. See you then. Bye.